Hey guys, welcome to the In the Game Room podcast. Tonight I'm going to give you some updates on some of the projects I've been working on, and then I want to share a little tip with you guys about 3D printed terrain. The sort of elephant in the room here is this thing here. This is the Stalingrad train station made by a company called Things from the Basement. Very good friend of mine runs that company, and I bought this kit from him, and I put it together. It went together way quicker than you might think, especially since many of these components are similar. This center building, these two corners, and then the corners out there are all very similar buildings. So once you build one, the other ones go together real quick because you know how they go together. Same thing, these hallways are mirror images of each other. These hallways out here are the same, only a little longer. And then these two are identical as well. So, like I said, once you've built one of something, the process goes a lot quicker once you figure out, sort of the way he does things. And they're very well designed. Obviously, they're beautiful. They're huge. They all have removable floors and removable ceilings and all that, so they're fully playable inside. The corner buildings all have staircases in them from one floor to the other. This one doesn't, because this is a extra tall room, and it's going to have a very decorative chandelier, operating chandelier with LEDs in there, so that's going to be really cool. I'm going to put LEDs in a lot of these and really light them up nice. But now I'm at this point where, sort of the real work begins, because I've got to paint all of this inside and out. And then I've got to paint all the windows and doors and install them as well, because as you can see, they're all just big openings right now. There's actual window frames that go in from the inside, and it's going to look really, really nice. So I'm kind of excited about this. I'm in the business of creating MDF terrain, but that doesn't mean I don't buy MDF terrain from other people. Well, let's just rephrase that. There's one other person I buy MDF terrain from, and that's Things from the Basement. They make really nice stuff. There's a couple other companies out there that I don't buy from, but that's a whole different story. But I'm happy to give this guy some business and give him some, plug on here. This particular piece of terrain isn't for everybody. As a matter of fact, it's probably only for a couple of people. I think he's only sold one other. So this might be only the second one ever produced. It's a very expensive piece because it's very big, but he makes a lot of other pieces, and he makes another train station that's actually, more reasonably sized. It's still big, but it's about this big, I think. So there's a lot of really cool pieces. He's the same guy that makes the, what's it called? Pavlov's House, which is another kit I have of his that is also right about at this stage. I've got it all built, but now I need to start detailing it and painting it. So getting this done is now kind of motivating me to get back on that project as well. So once I have this done and the Pavlov's House done and a couple other, I've got some big buildings over here that I manufacture. You can see just the corner of this gray one here. That's the government building. I could put together a pretty impressive table, I think, once I get all these guys done. So that's going to be kind of fun. I'll do that at some convention. Other projects I've been working on lately that I have talked about already. I did a podcast on the Rubicon models, U.S. Marines, and I think in the last episode I did on that, I just talked about opening up the box and putting them together and everything. I've been doing a lot of painting of them slowly but surely. And there's a couple of them that are done here. You can't see them, but I'm going to take pictures up close and put them here or somewhere, so you'll see them. These guys, and I got a bunch of other ones. Really, really nice figures, nice poses, a lot of different head options. They've got Caucasians and African Americans, which is great because in the Vietnam War there were a lot of each. So I'm kind of doing my unit kind of 50-50 with the whites and the African Americans, so it makes it kind of interesting. It's first time painting African American skin. I've done Indians before, which are fairly dark. but this is my first time doing African American skin, so that's been a new learning curve. No, you don't just paint them black. That's, you know, there are actual real colors that you have to use. So done that. The Marines, they're great from Rubicon. They're plastics. And 1 or 2 podcasts ago, I was talking about the miniatures from 0 to 100 hours. And I have here some of the British Commandos and the German sentries. Again, I'll take some close-up pictures and show you what these guys look like. But I've got them all built and shot with a coat of primer. I don't know if, is there any point? Probably not. You can't tell what they look like. But it's pretty cool. You can see a sentry with a dog, guy pointing, another guy with a dog, an officer, guy with a flashlight. I did one guy with a flashlight that I put a tiny, tiny little LED in and ran the wire down his arm and down out the bottom of the base. And that's really cool. But I'm not doing more than one of those. It was real pain. But it looks really cool when the light's on. If I can find a picture of that, I'll pop that up as well. So those are the things I've been working on. New exciting products out. The bolt action starter set, A Gentleman's War, is coming out, I believe, in a couple of weeks. We've already got our pre-orders in for that, so that'll be out. That's it's a bolt action starter set, just like their Band of Brothers set or their Island Assault set, but it's a Desert War, so that's going to be kind of cool. I believe it's Germans, and I think the allies are the British. And from that, you could probably do Indians and Commonwealth guys too, I'm pretty sure. So that's going to be a nice set. Hopefully bring some more people into the game. Let's see, what else is new? Gamers Grass just came out with 5 more styles of their laser plants. Their laser plants are really awesome. And actually for my Marines, I'm going to be using some of those to make the jungle bases. So I want some really cool big leafy things on there. So I'll be using some of those laser plants. So they came out with those, and their line of basing bits, which have been very popular. They came out with a 3rd set of basing bits, and these are like urban rubble. So for your modern dudes, they might be kind of cool. And well, I think we're pretty much caught up on what I've been working on and a couple of the new things. I want to talk to you about 3D printing a little bit for a second. There's a lot of discussion online about 3D printing and resin versus PLA versus FDM, all these sort of things. We're not going to get into that. I just want to give you guys a little hint about 3D printed FDM terrain that's printed in the PLA material, which is the most common used material. I use a lot of it. I'm going to post a picture right now of the game board that I built. I just call it the river board. It was meant to be one module of a total of 4 eventually. It's 2 foot by 4 feet, and if you put all 4 of them together, it was going to be 4 feet by 8 feet. And the first one was nearly finished, and it's been sitting in my office at work for the last year and a half or so, in a climate-controlled environment, which is important to this story. And then I wanted to bring it here to the game room at home. This is my garage at home. So I loaded it up in the back of my truck, and my pickup truck has one of those sort of canvasy covers over the bed that you fold out, and it's rainproof and everything. So I put it in there, put the cover down, brought it home, and then kind of left it there for a couple of days because I wasn't ready to move it in here yet. And those couple of days were pretty hot days. In our Tennessee summer here, I don't think we had too many days over 90, but those days were. And with that cover on the back of the truck being black and the entire truck being a dark color, I imagine inside the bed of the truck it probably got well over 100 degrees, probably 130, 140. And what happened was the 3D printed terrain that's made of PLA, it all shrank and warped. And I'm going to take you over there and show you what the board looks like now. But let me just make this a warning. If you have 3D printed terrain made from PLA, I mean, there's millions of examples of it. I'm printing buildings all the time and this stuff for bolt action and games like that. I don't know if you can see this big gun back here. The big railway gun is all PLA. If you have material like that and you have it like in your garage or your attic or your basement, well, basement's probably pretty safe. Any place that might get real hot, I would advise against it. This shop is climate controlled, so it's not a problem. My office was climate controlled, so it's not a problem. Just leaving it in the back of the bed of the truck for a couple of days, that was the problem. And that's all on me. That was a stupid move. But it ruined the board, and I'm going to show you that right now. So let's go look at it. All right, guys, here is the board, and we'll get in here close and you can see this huge, well, that came unglued as well as everything else. But these big gaps you can see here because everything literally shrunk. The walls along the side of the river shrunk. This big gap here shouldn't be there. This gap up here shouldn't be there. Down here, all of this. The bridge itself has warped a little bit. Again, we're down on these walls. They've warped and shrunk. And then down at this end, same thing. The super high quality Gamecraft Miniatures MDF terrain, however, is not affected. So that's worth noting. But as you can see, it's a disaster. So I'm not sure I'm going to give up on this. I might just have to pile a whole bunch of rubble over the areas where it's screwed up. I might be able to print out some more road sections and, you know, just cut a little slice and put it in here and put it in there. But yeah, I mean, everything shrunk. Even this gap here between the wood, the end of the table, that gap wasn't there. This was in there tight. So, I mean, it shrunk in both axes, well, probably all three axes, actually. So, yeah, they changed size, they changed shape, they just generally committed temperature suicide in the back of that truck. And like I said, you know, the cover was on. I thought it would be safe for a couple of days, but the temperature in there must have gotten really, really hot. And that's what happens when the sun's beating down on a black bed cover. There you have it. That is kind of destroyed, but maybe savable. We'll see. So if you have PLA printed terrain, keep it out of extreme temperatures, okay? All right, guys, that's it. I'm going to sign off here and get this online. Hope you guys are all doing great, and we'll see you next time. And until then, keep on gaming. Keep your 3D printed parts out of the sun.